If I could go back in time knowing what I do now, these are the 10 things that I would change to make way faster progress. I promise if you avoid these over the next decade in your fitness journey, you will make 100 times faster progress than I did. So I'm about to turn 28 next week and I feel old as shit. But seeing as that also just crosses a decade as me being a personal trainer and an online coach in the fitness industry, I thought what better time than to recap 10 of the biggest mistakes I made along the way. Number 1, not following a program and not tracking my progress with more detail. Always remember the 5 Ps. Planning prevents piss poor performance. Number 2, not training my body parts evenly. The biggest example of this was too much pressing and too much work on my front delts compared to my side and rear delts. If you watch my previous video about how I grew my shoulders faster, this is when I learned this lesson. The second example, which I'm sure you can probably relate to this, especially if you're a guy, is not enough legs compared to upper body. Of course, no one wants that look. Number 3, taking literally every supplement under the sun before I even knew the basics about nutrition. If I remember correctly, I am pretty sure I went into a supplement store and bought pre-workout before I'd even done my first proper training session. If I could go back, I'd slap myself. And keep in mind, at the time, I was about 16 or 17 when I first got into the gym and started training, and I definitely did not need more energy or caffeine. I mean, at that age, your biggest struggles are, do I go to this party or this party? It's not a very stressful life. I literally bought BCAAs, fat burners, test boosters, like everything you can think of, you name it, I tried it. And that was all because I thought it would speed up my progress, but all it really did was destroy my wallet. These Boss coffees, especially this one, Ice Mocha. Number 4, I was way too extreme with my diets. One year I would go from complete if it fits your macros, literally trying to fit as much crap into my macros as humanly possible, to the next year going way too restrictive, eating no processed foods whatsoever and nothing but pretty much meat and veg. This of course led to a terrible food relationship and some pretty bad binge eating habits. Number 5, this one took me way too long to learn. I thought that I could literally out-train a weekend full of alcohol, no sleep, and partying. This one was one of my biggest downfalls. From the age of literally 15, I'm ashamed to say that, to about 21, I pretty much binge drank nearly every single weekend. Now the reason why, that's a story for a whole nother video, but I honestly thought that as long as I was training 6 times per week and I was training hard, even if I was hungover, get to the gym, get my session in, I thought I would still be able to make amazing progress doing that. And all that really happened was terrible habits and lots of injuries. Number 6, I thought I had to do squats and deadlifts to build muscle. Now, even though I've had lower back issues literally since the age of 10, I still thought that I had to do heavy deadlifts and heavy squats to build muscle. And not just heavy squats and deadlifts. I thought that there were certain exercises that you absolutely had to do, and that couldn't be the case at all. There is never one exercise you have to do. There's always going to be some great exercises, but there's always going to be an alternative to every exercise as well. Even after having some of the best coaches in the industry, like the Muscle Doc, Ben Pekulski, Eugene Teo, all be there with me, taking me through the squats, showing me how to deadlift. Even though I had that, they all said that the form was good and there's no reason why I can't do them. I still hated them. They taxed my lower back, they just fried my body, and they just did not go well with playing competitive football 3 times a week. But my dumbass continued to beat my head against the wall and still try to do them, which of course just led to more injuries and slower muscle growth. Unless you want to be a powerlifter, you don't have to do them. Number 7, peer pressure. Not technically a mistake, but just something that I wish I was a lot more prepared for. If you don't want to eat shit, stay out till 5 a.m. partying because your fitness and long-term goals are more important to you, you don't have to. But if I'm being 100% honest with you and myself, I certainly did feel the full wrath of peer pressure along the way. And I did honestly find it quite hard to fit in because although I enjoyed doing those things for a little bit, I quickly grew out of them and realized it wasn't necessarily for me. I had lots of other ambitions and I much preferred making progress with my health and fitness goals, with my PT career and all that kind of stuff. And honestly, some of the reason, because obviously I wanted to fit in, I did find it quite hard to find like-minded people at that certain time. But honestly now, social media is so big and the fitness scene, the fitness niche, fitness industry is so popular, you shouldn't find it too hard to find like-minded people if you're willing to put in the effort. Number 8, hire a coach. Now, I actually hired my first mentor to teach me more about body composition goals and the PT industry and coaching in general before I actually hired a personal coach to help me with my fitness goals. After the mentoring, I learned an absolute shit ton. He helped me so much that I actually then hired him as a personal trainer as well. He's now an IFBB pro and he taught me so much and I learned so much faster. I also think it's important to know what type of learner you are. Me personally, I learn so much faster from just actually doing it and being there with someone and going through it rather than reading about it or going through a book. Number 9, the fitness industry has a lot of liars in it. I speak to people on a daily basis about their fitness goals, and one of the biggest struggles that I continuously hear is there's so much info out there, which on one hand is great, but on the other hand, it's not, because a lot of the info conflicts with each other. They don't know who to listen to, they don't know who to trust, and they don't know what info to take, so they just do nothing. I totally understand that, and sometimes more info is actually not better. And to be honest with you, the longer that I've been in the fitness industry, the more people I get to know and meet, the more I keep realizing there are so many people out there that are on the secret subs and straight up telling you they're natty. And to be honest with you, the worst part is some of them of course make progress, but they don't make that much progress like they should be on the secret subs, so it can be quite hard to actually tell. So when they're telling you they're natty or they're posting they're natty, it is very hard to tell. And that is a problem that I see more and more the deeper I get into the industry, which of course can lead you to comparing yourself to everyone. Which leads me to number 10. The last thing is, don't ever compare yourself to anyone. I saved the hardest for last. I personally feel like it is in our nature to compare ourselves to everyone else a little bit, so literally do whatever you have to do to get out of that mindset as much as you can, because otherwise you're gonna have a very miserable time on your fitness journey, and you're gonna be putting in so much hard work, you're gonna be making great progress, and you won't even respect yourself or enjoy it. Of course, there's always gonna be times when you do it, but if you catch yourself doing it, try to think of the triggers that are making you do this. For most people, I know for myself included, it's the more time I spend on social media, the more I find myself comparing to others, the shitter I feel. It's a pretty easy cycle to pick up on, but that cycle doesn't mean it's easy to stop. But if that means that you have to follow some of the young, juiced up teenagers that are 18 and look like they're 30 because they're so friggin' jacked, then so be it. Your future self will thank you. I hope that video was valuable to you. If you have any questions, let me know, and if not, I'll see you in the next one.